Today we are going to discuss the last chapter on history of anthropology, that is, modern trends of anthropology. First, let us have the introduction. Anthropology is the most liberating of all the sciences. Over the last 100 years, and especially during the last 50 years, it has consistently tried to liberate us from many fallacies and misnomers. It has successfully exploded the myth of the social and cultural superiority. It puts the entire mankind on one and the same pedestal. Right from the beginning, it has taken upon itself the responsibility to inform its students about the nature of the world as we know it. The majority of students of anthropology at college and university level may not become professional anthropologists, but they continue to disseminate and spread whatever they have learned by virtue of being students of anthropology at some stage of their lives. Thus, anthropology also contributes to the formation of an enlightened citizenry free from the narrow and parochial feelings. Next, we have modern trends. The increasing subjectiveness and interest in the individual were reflected in the renewed interest on the part of some anthropologists in seeing and recording culture as viewed strictly by the culture bearers. The analytic and native points of view become a major effort to clarify, though few ethnographers distinguish them in their work. Next, we have different approaches of anthropologists. Clifford Geertz has suggested that through symbols, people define their world and also transform it into their model of the universe. Victor Turner turned his attention towards religion and ritual. He analyzed ritual symbols as factors in social action. He believes that symbols must be studied within a particular cultural context, and his work is carefully empirical, based on fieldwork, aimed at understanding what the symbols mean to the members of the society. Next, we have structural functional approach. Another recent approach that concerns itself with psychology in the sense that it deals with cognitive processes has been French structuralism. Pioneered by Claude Lévi-Strauss. As used by Lévi-Strauss, structuralism means a search for deep, unafferent, innate structures of a psychobiological nature, universal to all human beings. These hidden infrastructures are very subtly manifest in surface behavior that varies greatly from culture to culture. He believes that transformation is more readily performed in some areas than in others. He prefers art, language, and myth, and has drawn his methodological model from structural linguistics, analyzing forms of social activity as though they were languages. A notable theoretical shift in American anthropology in 60s was a return to an interest in cultural causation. Search for regularities from which could be derived generalizations about human behavior. Prominent within this theoretical orientation were those seeking cultural causality in terms of environmental adaptation on the material basis of life. Both are cultural materialist strategies with techno-economic or techno-environmental factors as the independent variables. Looking at the technological means of maintaining life, cultural materialists applied these theories to history and behavior to show causal relations in cultural change. In the 60s, British social anthropology largely continued down paths indicated in the previous decade. Leeds found the structural functional approach less adequate. In an important article, Rethinking Anthropology, 1961, he declared that Recliffe Brown's type of comparative sociology was like butterfly collection, and then compared the types of shape, size, color, or whatever categories the collection might impose. To Leeds, such typology was meaningless for explanation because data was forced into analytic categories that might have no correspondence with reality categories like patrilineal and matrilineal to suit the classes, not those so classified. Next, we have cultural materialist approach. In American anthropology, the return to the concept of evolutionism is seen again. Leslie White, 1900 to 1975, a professor at the University of Michigan, has concluded that evolutionism was not wrong in theory, only in data, and that cultural evolution was just as real and demonstrable as biological evolution. The change from simple to complex with greater specialization of the pairs was just as real in cultural development as in physical. But the problem was to find a universal standard of measurement. He suggests that anthropology is properly the science of culture and call it culturology. He emphasized the importance of human uses of symbols and symbolization, which he pointed out made possible the cultural mode of adaptation. He is classified with Durkheim and Grover as a superorganist. Julian Stewart turned from a particularist orientation to greater generalization. He proposed a search for limited regularities and suggested that anthropologists took for parallel changes in form and function occurring in similar environments to see whether any causal principles could be found. Stewart compared developments in the Old World and areas of the New World where cultivation had led to urban developments. He found discernible regularities and developmental sequences broadly similar from earliest farming communities to conquest empires. He called his formulation multilinear evolution. As compared to the unilinear evolution of the 19th century. Stewart argued that Human societies must react to environment and in the course of adapting to environment, they introduce a superorganic element, that is culture. Stewart, seeing culture as a means of adaptation to environment, proposed the study of cultural ecology, the relationships among environment, the human organism present, and the superorganic element culture. Cultural ecology or cultural anthropology has often new vistas of research into the multifaceted relationships between culture and ecosystems. Further, advancement in this field promise to provide a cultural bridge between traditional anthropological interests and the larger world of animal behavior. In the early 60s, Marcel Salins, Almond Service, and some others tried to reconcile the two viewpoints. They suggested that evolution has two facets. One is general evolution, a grand movement from simple to complex. The other, specific evolution, change as an adaptive response to an ecological niche. Specific evolution leads to diversity through adaptation in histories. Stewart's multilinear evolution is specific. Salins and Service went on to apply the biological analogy at greater length. True, they carefully pointed out that in cultural evolution, change is addictive, not substituted, and may be transmitted by diffusion. A much faster means of dissemination than genetic transmission. As adaptation increases, so does stability and greater the specializations, the less potential for evolution. A corollary is that evolutionary potential is greater in less adapted and less specialized societies. Specific evolution means increasing adaptation. General evolution means increasing adaptability. Stewart's theory that each culture adapts differently in response to unique environmental pressures has been labeled specific evolution. Human adaptation to environment involves culture. Hence, Stewart used the term cultural ecology for the study of human adjustments to particular geographical setting. Stewart's work, along with Salin, constitute the core of this approach. After discussing on the facts and figures mentioned above, now let us draw the conclusion. Anthropology from the very beginning is a discipline with tremendous diversity. It regulates the past and the present of man and tries to anticipate his future. The subdisciplines of anthropology have been designed to explore human biology, culture, and language from the origin. Anthropology keeps together several subdisciplines that work jointly in spite of their differences. But the integration of the subject is not lost at all. It continues to be a distinct discipline and tries to understand a man in totality.